Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. And today's video arrives after a fantastic week and an even better weekend where honestly things couldn't be better right now in terms of a feeling. There's been a general buzz around the air that's not been around for a long time. I've been able to have fun and have a laugh with friends, family, even at foe, and that's been a nice feeling. It's been welcomed right here by this guy on this channel, but now it is time for us, and especially the players, to reset, refocus and get zoned in. As yes, we have won a trophy this weekend, but that is just one of the 4 that's available to us this season, and it's time to go ahead and chase the rest. And it's very interesting, troops, because there is very few teams potentially more sobering to come up against that Disney play on a plastic park, by the way, than the side that we face tomorrow in St Johnstone, as they're big, they're physical, some might say that they're ugly, but when you look at a glorious main like that, it's hard to say any other word than actual flawless. But with the high of Betis and even higher reaches versus Aberdeen, we now face a St Johnstone side with the opportunity and the carrot dangled in front of us to start chopping away at that gap at the top of the table, as it's now in our hands to determine who is sitting up there. And this is one of the 2 games that we have in hand available, that again, if we do our jobs, we can be back where we belong and where we want to see our football team. So you talk about motivation, you talk about something put in front of a team that's just won a trophy, that there should get the old plumps plumping. But we'll touch on that a bit later as we get to the Rangers end of today's video. As always, we'll start off with the oppositional preview and have a little look at the test that we faced in tomorrow's classroom. And before we do carry on with the rest of the video, by the way, we have now reached 10 weeks of 1,000 likes a video, which is absolutely absurd for a channel our size. There's massive channels with hundreds of thousands that didn't get that. So massive shout out to every single person who's been enjoying the channel recently. And again, from me today, it's nice to see so many people enjoying the content by hitting that like button. Let's try and keep the streak going. If you didn't mind, if you do enjoy this video, it would be sensational if you could hit that like button, but I know that's on me to try and earn it, so let's go ahead and do it then, shall we? And again, oppositional preview, St Johnstone 8th in the league. You might be thinking to yourself, that sounds good, especially the fact that it's not up at McDermott Park, it's at Ibrox. You start getting a bit excited, but it's probably the most Rangers thing of all time that St Johnstone come to Ibrox on their best run of the season. Now granted, it's nothing eye-widening and you're not going to sit there and say, hi, but whoa, what a run, oh my god, they're smashing everybody. It's nothing like that. It's just a 3-game unbeaten streak, but again, that's them playing the best that they've played all season, and they're looking good, they're getting good wins, and more importantly, they're obviously performing as they come into this game on the back of 2 1-0 wins over the likes of St Mirren and Hibs. Good teams to beat, especially in and around that area. And what's sandwiched in between those 2 1-0 wins is a 1-1 draw at Fir Park versus Motherwell, where it really should have been 3 out of 3 1-0 wins, as they conceded a 92nd minute equaliser. That's how close they came from coming into this game getting 9 points out of 9. And as I said before, they're playing some of the best football they've played in a while, in my personal opinion, because yes, you can look at the undefeated streak and that's the clickbait, that's the big thing to look at, but I thought the way they played against Celtic as well was actually great, as they led Celtic for nearly just shy of 70 minutes actually before falling to a sort of late rally from the Celtic side. But again, we're talking about inches, we're talking about lucks, we're talking about rubs. The Green, it finished 3-1 to Celtic, but in the very last minute when it was just 2-1, Joe Hart made a save. I know, I was surprised as you, and from that save, from that header, Celtic countered with the exact same move and put the game to bed. St Johnstone came this close yet again from taking points off its Celtic, or you could genuinely be looking at a side that's took 10 points out the last 12 available. And now when you consider Hibs, St Mirren and Celtic in that, you can see why I'm giving this team credit. But again, that's all positive, that's all vibes. What is causing this St Johnstone turnaround, and why are they still 8th in the league? Well, that's a simple one for me to break down, and you might have caught it when I talked about 1 goal, 1 goal, 1 goal. They nearly only ever score 1 goal. In fact, if you go back to the 2nd of September, just before we played them last time, they have only scored more than 1 goal twice during that run. Scoring goals is this team's biggest problem, and they come into this game with the 2nd least amount of goals scored as a unbelievable 12 goals have only been scored in the 17 matches they've played. That's only bettered, by the way, by last place Livingston, and they battle out, as you can imagine, for the worst goal difference in the league, as well as St Johnstone has a kind of terrifying stat line of a minus 11 goal difference this season. Scoring goals is the problem, but again, their performances are warranting the points that they're just not capable of grabbing. And I think, honestly, that's all I really need to update you on in the St Johnstone side. Obviously, we've looked at them before. We bet them 2-0 up at McDermott Park in a difficult, sticky type of game. And I can imagine a similar approach will be made for St Johnstone, except that they're actually playing some good football right now. And I think the danger of this midweek game, cold, wet, windy conditions against a big physical side that is feeling good about themselves, is all about our mentality and where we are in the game. If we come swaggering in thinking St Johnstone 8th in the league, we've just won a cup, we've bet Real Betis, we could get stung. But if we approach the game the right way and do our jobs that we should be capable of, not only grabbing the first goal, but if you go ahead and get the second one, it pretty much kills St Johnstone stone dead. And that's definitely how I see this game going. St Johnstone can bring what they can bring to the game, but if we can bring where our levels have reached over the last week or so, we should have more than enough than make this a less stressful grey hair turner, if you catch my drift. So aye, the second goal in this game would be very nice, Rangers, preferably early. That would be beautiful. And speaking of beautiful, let's get in to the Rangers ending shabby, because it has been a great week and it's hard to really focus on anything else. The bet is high, top in the Europa League group. No being a part of the Europa League draw and everything like that this time, because we've got our feet up. Big teams got their feet up looking into the next round, and then obviously lifting the first bit of silverware that was available this season. One cup's been available to win. We have won that. That needs to be the mentality shift, and that needs to be the aggression this Rangers team actually shows. And again, the biggest question is what we've already talked about, the mentality and the approach. And where I was maybe worried about that under previous managers was there's just something about Clement, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, right? Because I respect him truly. He looks like a bit of a maniac. Do you know what I mean? But I mean that in the best way, you know, because he stares at people and he shouts and he screams, and then he'll just start laughing. You're like, is he alright? But again, I'll run through a brick wall, because you can imagine letting that guy actually do it. He can say what he says, impresses and intimidates the media and everything like that. But imagine being in a dressing room not doing what you're told for that laddie. So there is that confidence there, and he was great in his press conference again, saying it's a marathon, it's no a sprint, and he'll have the players ready and the players will be ready. And I'm very interested to see what his starting 11 is actually going to be, because is he going to give the same team that's just went ahead and lifted a trophy an opportunity to go ahead and do it, or is he going to unleash a couple hungry dogs wanting to be amongst that team that's playing and lifting silverware? Addressing the elephant in the room, of course, as the game is coming quite shortly after lifting a trophy, and I have seen some things online saying we've not been able to even enjoy it really, because there has been a midweek game. There is a game in hand that we need to actually play, and I know there's going to be two camps in this. There's going to be people that wanted longer for these players to be able to enjoy this moment, let it sink in, get hungry for it and want to do it and want to enjoy it themselves without worrying about big physical St Johnstone. But I understand that completely, and if that's your mindset, that's perfect. But I sit on the other camp, ladies and gentlemen. I'm almost relieved there's a game so thick and so fast with this Rangers team, because I thought, especially with a couple of these players that we've had now for a long, long time, I feel the week between games, when they get to read about how good they're playing or anything like that, is almost a detriment to this side, and they start feeling good about themselves, start looking on social media, everyone's saying, oh, great things for them, they start losing the ball. I always feel that this Rangers side, especially over the last couple of years, has played their best stuff when there's game after game, moving on to the next objective. So I know some people are a little bit annoyed this game's coming so thick and fast and ruining the buzz that you've actually got, but I feel like the buzz we've got now is great, but I want more of that. And that starts tomorrow with chopping down one of these two games in hands that we've actually got, closing that gap, getting hungry, piling pressure and getting back to where we belong. And it's truly amazing the impact a real manager can actually have, because you can imagine 9 weeks ago sitting here saying that we've got an opportunity to cut the gap in the top league. It's in our hands, to be top of the league. We've already won a trophy. We topped the Europa League group. You'd have actually locked me up, put the hands behind me and just flung away the key, because it would have been insanity to say that. But that's what Clement has actually brought. The structure, the discipline, the motivation that he's bringing to this side has clearly got a result. And whether we think certain players need to be here, gone, past January or no, it's about getting every bit of ability and talent out of them during what is the most important month of fixtures. And so far, Big Phil has been able to do that, and I look forward to seeing hopefully that continue in tomorrow's game, as the work he's done is absolutely sensational. But regarding the players, any updates or anything, nothing's fresh or nothing's new from the obviously cup final, which we spoke about just 2-3 days ago, so I'm not going to break down anything like that. We know what's ahead of us, we know what's important, and it's now time for these players to show they can handle the demands of Phil Clement. It's not just the demands of Rangers now. We've got an intimidating figure as a manager who is forcing them to perform, and that's sensational. I feel like that's what we need, someone to hold these players accountable and not allow themselves to get lost in this and how great they are. Focus, determination, success. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very excited for tomorrow's game. It's going to be tough, it's going to be hard fought, but it's a challenge that we should have more than enough if we approach the game the right way, and that's why I can only see a Rangers 3, St Johnstone 0, and that's me giving respect to the run of St Johnstone. Let's hope the Rangers players give these players, St Johnstone, the respect they deserve. Turn up and play to their best of their ability. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the old comment section below, and as always, until tomorrow after the game, I've been TJ over 92. Thank you so much for watching, all the best, and bye bye.